Burgh Island sat like a jewel off the coast of Bigberry-on-Sea, a small spit of rock and sand in South Devon that rose defiantly against the crashing waves of the English Channel. By day, its green slopes and Art Deco hotel drew tourists eager for a glimpse of its timeless charm. By night, its shadows whispered tales of a darker past. In the late 14th century, the island had been a haven for Tom Crocker, a pirate whose name struck fear into merchants and sailors' alacor, so the legends claimed. And every year, in the third week of August, the anniversary of his hanging in 1395, his ghost returned to walk the island, a restless spirit bound to the place that had once been his refuge. The locals of Bigberry, far from shunning his shade, marked the occasion with celebrations, as if to honor the rogue who defied both law and death. Tom Crocker had been a man of contradictions, cutthroat with a silver tongue, a thief who'd shared his spoils with the poor of Bigberry when it suited him. In the 1390s, with England's coasts plagued by piracy, he'd made Burgh Island his stronghold, its isolation a perfect hideout for stashing plunder from raided ships. The island's caves, carved deep by centuries of tides, hid casks of rum and stolen silks, while its steep cliffs offered a vantage for spotting king's men long before they could draw near. Crocker's crew, a ragged band of outcasts, lived by his code. Take what you can, give nothing back unless it bought loyalty. But loyalty was a fickle coin, and in 1395, one of his own betrayed him for a purse of gold. The authorities descended on the island under cover of night, dragging Crocker in chains to Exeter, where a noose awaited him. As the rope tightened, he spat curses on his betrayer with his final breath, vowing he'd never leave the island he'd claimed as his own. True to his word, Tom Crocker's spirit returned. The first sightings came in the years after his execution, when fishermen swore they saw a tall figure in a tricorn hat pacing the island's cliffs on moonless nights in late August. His form shimmered like sea spray caught in lantern light, broad-shouldered, clad in a tattered black coat, a cutlass swinging at his hip. He spoke no words, but his presence carried the weight of unfinished business, the creak of invisible boots on shingle, the faint echo of a sea shanty on the wind, the sudden chill that drove gulls screaming from their roosts. The villagers called it Crocker's Walk, pinning it to the third week of August, the time of his death, when the air turned heavy with salt and sorrow. By the 19th century, the haunting had become woven into Bigberry's fabric, a yearly ritual as fixed as the tides. Far from fearing Crocker's ghost, the locals turned his spectral return into a celebration, nod to the pirate's roguish charm and the island's wild history. On the eve of the third week of August, they gathered on the mainland shore, lighting bonfires that cast flickering gold across the water. Children dressed as pirates, waving wooden swords and giggling over tales of buried treasure, while their elders shared cider and stories of Crocker's exploits. The French merchant ship he'd plundered single-handed, the storm he'd outrun with a devil's luck. At midnight, the boldest rowed out to Burgh Island under lantern light, leaving offerings at the cliff's-edged jugs of ale, coins, knots of rope as tokens for the pirate who'd made the place legendary. "Keep your peace, Tom," they'd murmur, half in jest, half in reverence, before retreating to watch the island from afar. Not all encounters were festive, though. In 1876, a fisherman named Jem Hawkins, drunk on rum and bravado, stayed on the island past midnight during Crocker's Walk, daring the ghost to show himself. The next morning, Jem was found trembling on the beach, his boat half sunk and his nets slashed to ribbons. "He looked me dead in the eye," Jem stammered, his face pale as bone. and the sea rose up round him like a cage. No one doubted his tale. Crocker's ghost, it seemed, could still muster a pirate's wrath when crossed. Centuries on, Burgh Island has softened its hotel, a beacon of luxury. Its causeway a draw for curious visitors, but Crocker's walk endures. In the third week of August, when dusk falls and the sea whispers low, a figure can still be glimpsed on the cliffs. Tom Crocker, pacing his old haunts, bound to the island he'd claimed in life and refused to leave in death. And the people of Big Berry still gather, their bonfires blazing, their laughter mingling with the waves, to celebrate the pirate whose spirit keeps faith with the past, a ghostly echo of a time when the law was outrun and the sea bowed to no man. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, follow, subscribe, and comment below.